Hey guys, it's Gabriel. I'm here with Ronin Man. We're in Brooklyn, and today we're going to talk about discipline. It's something that I've seen guys ask for a lot in the comments. It's something that I've talked to Ronin about in my personal life a lot of times. So I'm going to shoot some questions at him about discipline and what it means to him, and we'll see if we could get some of your questions answered, some of my questions answered. So, Paul, I guess just to start, what is discipline to you? Like, what does it mean for you to be disciplined?
I mean, I would, like I was saying yesterday, I don't like the words. I think it's partly stems from my language ability. Is I realize words don't really mean much. You know, like freedom and discipline. I think it's better just to ask specifics. Like when you see me do something, what is it that blows you away or surprises you? Why do you want to know this? Like what is it that you want to do or you see me doing? And you're like, because you know me, right? These other guys, a lot of people don't know me, right? Personally, right? You're seeing me and you're like, wait, I want to know about discipline from this guy. Why is that? Like, what is it that surprises you or is different or is something you want to do? Why is it important?
So I'll speak for myself, and also as I think is a vague or general, a lot of guys, how they view it. When we talk about wanting to be disciplined in something, a lot of times it's usually in terms of we want to be disciplined to lose weight. There's only a few realms of it, right? Wanting to lose weight, wanting to earn more money, wanting to pursue a job that we want to pursue, wanting to pursue women. It's not a huge list. It's kind of a narrow field of things that guys are interested in being disciplined in their pursuit of that thing, that for some reason we're unable to manifest the emotion to do that. And it's partially that society tells us that we should want to do this thing and we don't feel capable of doing it, right? Oh, you should make, $1 million a year. You should start your own company. Here's, I think, a very common one is, you should start your own company, but I don't feel the discipline to do the things that I need to do to start this company. And how much of that discipline is because...
Okay, I get it. Okay, so let's just hit that one. So, okay, that's a very good one, because here's the thing, is a lot of guys are... Generally, the reason why people don't get solutions in life is because they're asking the wrong questions. That's the main reason. That's really, if you narrow it down, it's like if I answer people's questions, I'm not doing them a favor. Because let me give you an example. So, like, for example, let's just use one example, right? So I know for sure this is a fact, and I'm not going to go into this, and it's not the topic of this conversation at all, but it was interesting to me, very interesting actually, is that I hung out with a lot of pickup artists who were like famous. They got paid to be pickup artists, right? They weren't just pickup artists on their own. They were actually unpaid. And what was interesting to me was how many gay guys went to them trying to pick up women. And so the problem is that these guys were wondering why they didn't have the discipline to go and pick up women, right? But the essential problem, the heart of the problem is that they didn't really like women or as a sexual. They didn't see women as sexual, right? They didn't see women as sexual. So they were asking this question, and these guys were trying to help them to get their goal. But what was behind it was they had very good reasons for not doing all the hard work it takes to succeed with that particular endeavor, right? But they didn't know it. See, this is how complicated and how fuzzy our brains are. Is these guys, they couldn't admit that they didn't want women sexually. Like, they weren't at the stage where, like, once you admit something, right, you really admit it, you don't want it. Like, for me, I'm not a consumer. I realized that at some age in my life. I just like, oh my God, like, it was a big realization. Never heard anybody say it before. I just said, like, I'm not a consumer. Like, the idea of a consumer, not that I'm against it. I don't have a big axe to grind. I just am not. It's whatever it is that a consumer is not something that makes me happy. And so that was a relief off my shoulders, is one more thing I didn't have to think about, because I'm like, wait, I'm not even into this. Like, this is not my thing. I don't care about this. And so that allows me, this is why I can have discipline for certain things too, is because I can wipe a lot of things off my plate by realizing they don't mean shit to me, or I don't even want them. It's like this, the reason why I'm trying to get them without even wanting them is that's the problem. It's not, there's no desire. I haven't gone into, you need to know a lot of things before you ask, why am I not succeeding in this? Right? Because one reason is that you fear that if you, let's say we're successful with, let's say, making money, you might know a lot of people who got money and their friends all fucked them over, right? They won the lottery. You read stories about them. And then all of a sudden everybody turned on them and they had gold digging girlfriends. And so your fundamental, I would say, unthinking position, or not fully analyzed position, is that you think, and again, this is on a scale, so it's 100% to 0. So you might be 51% thinking that if you make a lot of money, there's going to be all these new problems in your life. Whereas like 49% of you is like, God, I want money, right? I want more money. I want this, I want that. But then 51% of you is like, wait, if I got money, then people are going to want this money. I'll be having to hide the money. One of my friends might fuck me over. I might, move to a new neighborhood away from my friends. I might not be able to trust my friends anymore. I'm just happier. 49%. I'm happier the way I am, right? So when you talk about motivation, you think you're motivated. So let's go back to the guys who don't know that they're gay, right? So they think they want to pick up women. Now, they do want to pick up women because they might be in a location where it's not socially acceptable to be who they really are. So the world's not a fair place. It's not a transparent place. So even though they might not be sexually interested in women, in their family, like let's say they have a traditional Chinese family or any kind of traditional Muslim family, it's not cool. So they are not fully taking into consideration all the things. To succeed, you need to get deeper in. So the reason why people ask, how do I get motivated? I would say you need to go in. If you're not succeeding in something, okay, you are an intelligent being. So there is a fucking good reason why you're not succeeding. See, but most people never get to this level. Most people spend their whole life signing up for gyms on New Year's Eve, commiserating with other people who don't ever change and fully analyze their emotions and motivations and all that. And then, so they don't even ever have a chance of success, right? Because if a guy, let's go back to the gay example, because it's a great example. It really shocked me that why would guys pay $3,000 to a pickup artist to go and fucking pick up women, because when they actually don't really want women, but see, inside their own confused brain, they're like, I should want women. I should be a man.
Can I say something?
So yeah, sure.
So I think it's important that I say this for a lot of the guys that are listening to this that are in, red pill community, manosphere, whatever. And I'm speaking again from my own experience, that we take in so much of this air quotes red pill information about women are bad, women this, and that, and also feel like, you're not a man unless you're going with all these women. So a lot of people in this sphere are taking in messages half of them saying stay the hell away from women, the other half saying like you have to have women if you're going to be a successful person, right? And it's like taking in information in your brain that are counter to each other to what a lot of people's goal is to be, successful man, whatever that means to them, right? I think, gay guys experience one thing, but in this community, there is actually a specific thing that happens to a lot of guys in this community of women are going to do this X, Y, and Z to you and all these awful things, but also, you're not up there with the, alpha guys or whatever, unless you're with those women.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, essentially the heart of this whole thing we're talking about is the very, very reason why I don't like to answer a lot of questions is because they're wrong questions. Because I know when someone is asking a real question because they say, okay, look, because they're honest with themselves, right? So they would say, okay, look, I actually am afraid of this. I actually don't want this because I think if I got that, then this is going to happen, right? And so they show me that they have fully kind of put all the pieces, embarrassing puzzle out on the table. And then when they ask me a question, it's a good question, right? Because it's like knowing what they know. They're not being lazy. They're not just saying, hey, how do I get motivated to go to the gym? That's a fucking stupid question. It really is. It's a fucking stupid question. Because, and a stupid person would answer that. And then everybody just continues on their way. This is what happens in life, right? And this is why most people never get any kind of like peace or whatever. You know what I mean? They never like come. And so I think you have to accept who you are and then accept your fears. And also you have to think about that thing about percentages. What percent do I want this? Because what I've found is that most people that come to me, okay, so there's different levels. There's people who ask questions on the internet, on comments. Most of those questions are not very sincere because they're just lazy questions, like I got a lazy question on Twitter recently and I answered it. I said, this is a lazy question. And then he answered with kind of a evasive answer, right? And so where the fuck can you go with that? Because there's no honesty with himself. If you ask a question and you don't really want the answer and the guy catches you, he says, hey, you didn't do your research. You're not really asking. Then the man who gets that would say, holy fuck, you're right. Like I was stupid because I didn't think about it. And I asked you questions because I was being lazy myself and asking you to do the thinking for me and the work for me. But even if you did the thinking for me, I wasn't really going to take it that seriously. I wasn't valuing your time. Like I was being lazy, dishonest at some level. And the next step was I wouldn't have even taken your advice because I wasn't in a state of honesty where I would have taken your advice, right? It's just this level of dishonesty that most men live in, so you need to be able to, if you want help in life, you have to help yourself first and start to be super honest with yourself before you ask that question about being disciplined, right? So about a specific thing, right? Now, when you're asking about discipline, that's a great question because a general idea of once you know what you want, how do you go about getting that? I think that's a worthwhile question, But it's kind of like this dishonest question where it's like you've had 30 years of failure in this. And if you're honest with yourself, you kind of know a lot of things you're not saying, right? Fuck that. I don't want that in my life. There's two reasons. One, I don't want to do the thinking for other people because I know that they won't take my advice. They won't take it seriously, right? And then also, nothing will change. Right. It's pearls before swine. Not that the guy's a swine. He's not a swine. But in his state, that particular situation is swine. And I could do the same thing to somebody. Like I could be on an expertise website about another topic, and I could be capable of being just as dishonest in that field as he is. So again, I'm not labeling a man as a certain way. I'm just taking each situation as they come. So in that circumstance, you have to look at yourself. So don't berate yourself, in other words. Right. Don't say, oh my God, Ronin is so honest with himself and I'm not honest at all. It's like, that's not what I'm saying. But I am saying you need to go back to the drawing board and really start pouring your heart out, pouring your thoughts out, your faults, what you're hiding, the failures you've had before. Because if you want to know how to be disciplined, it would be helpful if you're going to ask the question, is to tell the truth. Like every time I do this, I do this. Every time I do that, this happens. I don't understand. It makes me angry. I'm very frustrated. I don't even know if I'm ready to hear the answer. That's a very, very honest thing to say. Like, wait a second, don't answer. Because I'm not being honest yet. I don't want you to waste your time. Like, I asked you the question, but now I realize this is a very deep level of honesty. So you were dishonest in the beginning, right? With yourself. And then you say, wait, don't answer. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to hear the answer yet. I'm not ready to change. And there you go. Now you're starting to get to the level where change can actually occur. And once you learn that change, that's gold. It's gold. Because all of a sudden, all around you, you'll see people who are asking questions and then they don't really want to accomplish those goals. Maybe they are happy being an employee. They don't really want to be the boss because they know that bosses don't have many friends and they have a lot of stress. And they know that, like, during COVID, a lot of employees are all stressed out. You know who's more stressed out? Business owners. Don't think a moment about it. Business owners are way more stressed than employees right now because they're the ones who have skin in the game. They have all this money out there and they're having to pay to keep it going while nothing is happening, right? Whereas the employee, he might not be getting salary, but he can always ask the government for some money, borrow some money, lower his expenses. He has a lot of control. If you have, you own Disneyland, what the fuck do you do?
Yeah, the mall, right?
You own the mall. You own the office building. You own the, whatever it is, the sports stadium. The fuck do you do? You're totally fucked, right? You own the lease to the store that relies on foot traffic that doesn't come because of COVID. What the hell do you do? You're just watching your whole empire be crushed. Slow motion train wreck. The pain is insane, right?
Right. And there's a lot of people on the internet, on YouTube, saying you should be that guy because that's the top guy. It's so easy to get caught up in this is what the internet tells me I should do. And when there's these people that, everyone's dishonest with themselves. I don't want to say these people because I'm dishonest with myself in a lot of ways probably that I can't see. But if you're not ready to hear an answer, or if you want to hear a certain answer, there's more than enough people willing to sell you that. There's the vast majority of people are willing to tell you what you want to hear so they could get ad clicks or whatever, right?
Well, they're just going to do what they'll do. The average YouTuber, and I don't mean the average, I mean almost all YouTubers, what they will do secretly is Google it, find the best advice, and regurgitate that back to you. Right. And I don't like frauds. I consider them frauds. Personally. I'm not saying they are frauds. You might not think they're frauds, but I like genius. I like unique thinking. I don't respect hard workers. I respect genius. I love genius. That's where I see all the new ideas coming from. That's what I expect of myself. That's what I want from myself. That's what I strive for, is to be able to come up with a unique solution that has never been considered or is tailored right to the heart and solves the problem right fucking now, right? That's what I expect of myself. It's what I want for my own problems and for other people's problems. Other people don't expect that. They expect much less of life. For me, no. If I don't know the answer, I don't know the fucking answer. Now, I can do a Google search and get ideas sometimes that will help me to think of something that will make something better. But even that I consider kind of fake. I really prefer saying I don't know or waiting 3 months and thinking about it, looking around at the world around me, and then answering. So that's the other thing. Sometimes I won't answer because I don't know. But I'm not saying I don't know because I might know, but I don't cognitively know yet. So once that's floating around in my CPU and I'm out in the world, kind of semi-testing the idea out, the answer might come to me. And then I'm going to go back and comment if the comment's not deleted. I've had fucking idiots ask a question, could not think of the answer. They got frustrated, asked again. I didn't have the answer. 3 months later, I thought, I got it. I got the answer. And I go back, and the comment's deleted. Idiots. Fucking idiots. Because I'm not going to give you a Google search average of the average wisdom.
Yeah.
That's not my job. That's not what I do.
Or the make you feel good answer.
Oh, of course not. Yeah. But I mean, like, that's of course I'm not going to do that. Yeah. But I mean, I'm not even going to do where I'm looking at their stuff and, reading all their books and then writing a book, right? To me, I just am not into that. That's not my way. I don't find any real change, okay? Most people, I see them as drones and robots. They don't change. They're not honest with themselves. They get nowhere. I have no desire to read these guys' blogs because I don't know them, right? But the people that I do, encounter, right? So I know the people that make blogs are the same way. And they're dishonest with themselves. So they're just like saying these things. Fuck all that, man. You want real people who can be honest with themselves. That's it. I don't have time for anything else. That's why when somebody comes to a summit and they're not being honest, I kind of push them out of the group because I can't make them change. I can't make them be honest with themselves. Like, it's impossible. So I want to encourage the guys that are kind of like, they don't have to be at that level, but at least they have to see the level. That's the difference. If you're dishonest, but you know you're dishonest, you're way ahead of the bunch. Whereas when you don't even know and you're still justifying it, when I see that, I'm just like, I just cannot even, for me, it's just, it's disgusting.
Yeah, before I do want to head back to, I have a couple more questions on discipline, but before I get to that, I just want to make an analogy that I was thinking of yesterday, as far as, because there's so much dishonesty with men specifically. Okay, if I'm with women, there's a certain allowance of dishonesty I have, but if I'm in a group of men and someone's being dishonest, I have a very low tolerance for it. I'm just like, I'm not fucking with this guy if he's going to be like this. So in my mind, it's a rough analogy, but it's, if we were all plants and honesty was like something we needed to grow into bigger plants, it would be, a lot of guys just stay as these tiny plants because they feel safe being this plant, because honesty hurts. It hurts saying like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm fat, or whatever the thing is. Like, oh, I'm not making enough money because I'm being lazy, or, oh, these friends I'm hanging out with are actually like shitty people, or, oh, I shouldn't be drinking alcohol, or, oh, I shouldn't be smoking all this weed. Whatever it is, there's a lot of things that we're lying to ourselves, and it goes so deep. And being honest is like the thing that lets you grow as a man, in my opinion and my experience, just from what I see the men in my own family, the dishonesty the men in my family have that prevents them from being bigger, better men. So being honest is painful. And I just want to be straight up with that, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm honest, right? It's so easy to say, oh, I'm honest, right? I say it right now, oh, I'm honest, right? But to actually be honest and then get to these emotions and thoughts where it's just like, man, this fucking sucks,
Doubts and fears.
Right. Yeah. And being real about it and not knowing or it's hard to say what's worse, not knowing something or knowing something and it being the opposite of what you want it to be. Right.
Well, it's also bad because one of the issues is once you are honest, right, at this level we're talking about, right, then when you meet somebody, a normal person, it's quite frustrating because you'll say something like, well, I'm actually not very good at that, right? And then they'll say, like, for example, I'm not very good at writing Japanese or reading Japanese or Chinese. Now, that being said, I probably know more Chinese characters than definitely the vast majority of listeners here, right? I don't know what percentage it's going to be because I could probably recognize probably 800 characters, right? Or I'll kind of know what they probably mean in a sentence, I'll figure it out. But I consider myself total shit. Like, I'm terrible. Like, it's embarrassing. Because I know I had the chance to be very good, and I didn't take it. I focused on speaking, which is fine. But it was kind of stupid. It actually was very short-sighted. And so I say that I'm not good at reading and writing, either Japanese or Chinese. And then I'll say that to somebody, a normal guy, and he'll say something that is just super stupid, like, yeah, that's why, you just didn't discipline yourself. That's why you can't speak. Like, I didn't say I couldn't speak. I just said writing. He doesn't have the discipline to speak. I did, right? I grinded through it and speak difficult languages that I didn't know as a child. I learned as an adult that were incredibly different and difficult, right? So I'm not saying, so when you're honest, you give ammunition for people to either attack you. Well, that guy's not disciplined. See, he told me he's not honest. He told me. You said that. Didn't you say that? There's that kind of guy. And there's another kind of guy who just doesn't hear you at all.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, you got to be, the guy's like, let's say the guy looks like shit. He's like fat. He's like totally out of shape. He's like doing a shitty job that you would be embarrassed at doing. His friends totally suck. He dresses like shit. Everything's like things that you don't respect. And you can see it. But he's talking like he's like some kind of disciplined guy. But you can see that he's not, right? That's very frustrating because when you are honest, then all of a sudden you have to think of who you're speaking with too.
Right.
When you're at work, you got to be careful because
there's definitely those guys. They'll throw your honesty in your face. Like, you've been honest with them, and the opportunity they get to throw your honesty in your face, they'll take it.
Or even they'll just think that. They'll just they assume, well, that means you have no discipline and you respect them because they're so honest.
Right.
And so disciplined, right? Yeah.
So with discipline, something you said to me yesterday was something along the lines of something that we make ourselves a slave to, right? It's the idea of, okay, there's the discipline of...
Open the notes I sent you yesterday.
Yeah.
Those comments I sent you in the gym.
Yeah, some of it was audio, so...
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
so there's three main things I said.
Yeah. So, but before I get to that, because there is the discipline of the idea that, okay, I want to start a business and I'm not doing it. But then there's the discipline of the real things of taking care of your health and taking care of your finances, which those are things are like materialistically, if you're not disciplined to take care of those things, it will end up a lot worse for you. Right. And those are two things that I think a lot of guys...
Still doesn't mean you're going to do it, but yeah.
So but there's logically knowing... See, I don't logically know I have to start a business and become a boss, but I logically know I need to manage my life and my health or else things will end badly. But getting those things under control, how do you generate because this was one of the points that you brought up, was that you have to have emotion to have discipline. It's more of an emotional thing than a logical thing.
Okay, so I'll go into that. So you asked me about discipline and motivation, right? You said motivation first. So then I was in the gym yesterday and I was thinking, by the way, having a fucking great workout. I really nailed it yesterday and I was loving it. And I thought motivation. And I was over by the dumbbells and I thought, wait a second, emotive. That's right. Emotion.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, no way. Because I don't usually do that. I'm not usually like, this word means that. The kind of guy, like, I'm not like, but I thought, wait, that actually is related. Motive, emotive, emotion. Same word, right? Branch off, same word. Right. And I thought, wait a second, emotion and motivation is not logical. It comes from an emotional state. It comes from emotion. Motivation comes from emotion. And I was like, whoa, that's interesting, because one of the things I have found is that, well, obviously a lot of guys think they're logical and not emotional. And I've already said it many times that it's ridiculous. It's very dishonest, really. We are human beings. Yeah, and most of the things that we say and do, we are emotional. Our emotional brain, your brain, okay, is divided into three parts. Okay, essentially the brainstem, the reptile brain, which is just a small little bulb, and then there's the emotional brain, which is most of your brain, and then there's the prefrontal cortex, which is the logical brain. And those three parts, the triune brain, right, basically evolved in totally different periods. Okay, so the monkeys don't have the prefrontal cortex, right? So some animals don't have that, right? This was a new thing. That's why you have the big foreheads and stuff, right? So it's a different part of the brain. So reptiles just have that basic. That's why we know the triune brain is like different parts in there. Some things are just, we guess, like, right and left and all that shit. But the three parts of the brain are much more solid because some animals don't have them. Mosquitoes, crocodiles don't have certain parts of the brain. So we can say, oh, what can they do? What can they not do? Pretty obvious, right? They don't write poetry. There's certain things they don't do, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we know that that's related to something about their brain. So it's pretty easy to figure out. So basically, when you talk about motivation, okay, and I would say motivation, one way to look at it, okay, first level is, we talked about the basics of honesty, why you're doing this, why you're not doing this, what you're afraid of, what you're trying to get, how much you really want that. Are you really being honest about even wanting this fucking thing in the first place and being willing to do it? You're like, oh, I'm going to learn Japanese. Like, oh, please. If you're not moving to Japan, get real. You're not serious, right? You're just doing it as a hobby. That's not learning Japanese to me. No, not at all. So are you serious, or is this a hobby, right? I hate hobbies. Yeah. I'm either going to do something or not. I don't have any hobbies. I either do stuff or I don't do it. That's it. Yeah. So, okay. So, and this is was interesting too. I started to think of when I was thinking of the answer yesterday at the gym, I was thinking of how motivation and your body and almost like sex and visceral things are connected. Okay, so follow me on this one. I think this is true. I believe this is very true for me. Okay, let's say you want something, right? You know that you've thought about it, you're honest. You're afraid of it, but at the same time, all things balanced out, you're only a couple percentages away from doing it. So you know that you're just close to getting to the tipping point where you're ready to start doing something, right? So you could see. Now, what happens at that point? What would stop you from doing it, right? Okay, so one thing I learned about kind of doing things properly was from having sex with all those girls. Believe it or not, I learned a lot from that, actually. And it has nothing to do with picking up women. Nothing. I learned that if you want to be, a lover, where you are able to express yourself and be really fluent in that language, right? Where you are a physical affection and love, like where you're really able to get in touch with that part of yourself. This is what women want, by the way. They want a man who is in that animal flow, not animal like you think animal, you think tiger. No, it's that natural, non-logical, emotional drive where you're not answering questions in a logical manner. And also you're not on your own. You're not like a drummer doing a solo in the middle of a jazz piece, which shouldn't belong there. You see her. You see the flutter of her eyelids. You see the movement of her eyes. You feel where she's at, right? And you're in that groove where you're with her, like you two of you are like, it's almost like total flow. Sex is total flow, right? And that's when sex is sex. It's not jerking off with a woman anymore. You're in this flow. And one thing that women really, really want, I believe, is a man who can get into that flow, that natural, non-logical. And it might get wild, it might not. It might be very soft. It doesn't matter. It's this, I think of it as like, when I close my eyes, I just think of almost like a red, like inside of my brain is just like this big pulsating red thing. Almost. So it's like this illogical heartbeat or something. Like I'm in that mode where it's like me and her and the groove of this thing, this dance, this experience, this pulsating awareness, this flow, right? And you're in this, and you're with her. And one of the things I don't like is I realize that a lot of girls do not really understand this. There are a lot of women who don't know how to kiss, and they don't know how to allow themselves to be like that. They might want you to be like that, but they can't be like that, right? So they'll ask you a really stupid question during sex and just break the total mood because they don't understand themselves. So it's not like only men do this. And this I very much disagree with when women say this because they don't understand. I've been enough women to know there are a lot of women who do not understand this, a lot. Now, I think we are all we are all physical beings and we can learn to go into this. So I'm not saying I can take a woman who has never done this before and together, once she feels me, she feels my presence and feels my feeling, she will fall into it and find it's very pleasurable and enjoyable for her too, right? And seeing her fall into it out of what she was before blows my mind and really opens my, like, almost like your pupils dilate because you're seeing something happen for the first time or you're seeing something real happen, right? And that breaks you open to a new level, right? So I don't want to make it too big, but there is definitely something here, 100%. So when I say motivation, I learned that your motivation doesn't come from, like, your logical brain is like as powerful as maybe a fan, but it's hooked up to an 18-wheeler. So there's not enough power to move that cargo, right? Your emotion, That's where the power is. That's where that's where you climb over that hill. That's when you charge that fucking hill. That's when you do whatever it is that you're really exploding, accomplishing something, or whatever. It comes from that power in yourself, and that is your essentially your the heart of what really motivation, the thing that it can only come from an alignment too. So it can't. You're getting what I'm saying. Like the honesty in the beginning is important because you can't really make this happen either.
Right. If you can't generate the emotion for it, it's probably some part of it's dishonest, or you're not asking the right question to get the emotion to get there. Is that?
I mean, I don't know if that would be the real thing, but basically, yeah, you could look at it that way. You could say, well, what's wrong with this? Why am I not accomplishing the thing I want to accomplish? But I think that gets like too logical. I would just say for myself, I'd just say I'm not ready. Right. I wouldn't get into the specifics because, again, the questions that you ask when you don't know something are the wrong questions. The lessons you learn are the wrong questions. So you have to start to doubt that your logical brain is leading you in the right way. I would just say, wait, no, something's wrong. I don't know what it is. I'm not ready for some reason here. Something's wrong. And then by that humility and openness to your own inner kind of self, you will start to see, you'll be like, it'll come to you later. You'll be like, I know why. I know why I wasn't ready. And then you'll be able to state that. Right? And then you've really gone somewhere, right? So again, you can't force these things, and you can't force honesty even in yourself, because it's not even about honesty. Sometimes it's about realizing things, right? So I started with that as an example. Okay, so what I would say is that, so I was in the gym, and I was destroying it. Like literally, I destroyed it so much that the girl across the gym started clapping. I told you earlier, right? And I was like, it blew my mind because she sensed I was doing the sets. I wasn't making a lot of noise. I wasn't screaming. I wasn't dropping weights. But I was doing them so fucking hard that she looked over and she's like, oh my God, that's the way to do it. That's the workout. You're working. Like I was the only one in the gym who was actually working out, right? And I was so in my groove, I didn't even care. But I was like, oh, it's interesting. Somebody can see it. That's all I thought to myself. And I just said, yeah, that's the way you're supposed to do it. It's what you do in the gym. I don't go in the gym to stand in the gym. I don't go in the shower to stand there, right? I go in there for a reason. So I'm going in there to explode. So how do I, once I'm in there, I know I want it. How do I accomplish this flow? Because when I'm in the gym, it's very similar to having sex in a way, because I don't notice people. I'm like an animal. I'm in the gym. I'm like, what is the next thing? And I go over there. And when I'm really in this flow, literally, people can tell. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a beautiful thing. And you will get in killer shape if you can sense what I'm talking about. It's a flow. It's a flow with your body. It's a flow of exertion. It's a flow of ripping muscles. It's a flow of challenging yourself. And almost like the world doesn't exist. I'm in my flow. And I want to finish that flow, then, which to me means my full body. I want to do my legs to the max, all different aspects of my legs. I want to do my back. I want to do my chest. I want to do my shoulders, my forearms, my triceps, my biceps, my, what are those called? Traps. I want to do everything that I do in one day. And I'm in this flow. So that's another thing, to realize that motivation is a flow. Okay, that's one thing. The next thing is, and this is, you never heard these things before. Here's what I do. Here's the way I think about it. I think a lot of guys, why they can't do things is because they're embarrassed of their emotions. Okay, so for example, why do you get in shape? You might get in shape because you hate somebody so bad that you want to prove to them that you're the man. Like there might be some bully, right? It could be somebody in your family or in the world, and you hate them so bad that you're going to work out, and you're going to, that hatred of this person and of the embarrassing emotions it brings up in you is so strong that it's a powerful motivator for you to work out. So what most guys will do is they'll say, oh no, I can't allow myself to have the emotion of anger to motivate me because I'm afraid of it, because that's bad. Here's the thing. If you want to succeed in motivation, you need to ride the demon. Okay? And the demon is your emotions. Okay? So it could be anything that's a strong emotion. So it's this feeling of, fuck that guy. I want to show him I'm not some fucking pussy. Right? And it could be to show me. He thinks I can't do it. Fuck him. I'm going to get in killer shape. Because you're not saying that you hate people. You're not saying that you don't respect them. But you're hating the fact of something. And you're going to fight against it. And you're going to ride that bitch, right? In the gym. And when you're doing that, you're going to just be like, fuck those people. And one of the movies, the title of the movies I love the most, always loved it, was Rebel Without a Cause. James Dean. Now, I saw the movie, and it didn't really turn me on that much. But the idea is fucking great. Because I remember when I was young, I remember all these guys. Everybody is kind of a rebel when you're young. You know, like especially 13, 14, right? But everybody thinks they need a cause. And I always thought, I was more honest with myself. I thought, I have no cause. I'm just a fucking rebel. And then people would say, being a rebel is stupid. Like, what are you rebelling against? Like, basically, they would come out with logic. But I didn't realize what was really going on. What was going on was testosterone was flowing through my veins much more than the average guy. I had a lot of testosterone, I know. And that testosterone causes you to be a certain way. And that feeling, there's no logic to it. Testosterone, the heart of a man is testosterone, right? That's why you want to lift weights when you're older, so that you keep that testosterone high, right? Naturally. It's not fake. Testosterone is part of your manhood, right? Your chemical makeup, right? And I realized that I was a rebel. I just fuck the world, part of me when I was 13, 14. Like, fuck my parents, fuck the cars, fuck the police, fuck the government, fuck the parking spaces, fuck all these rules, fuck these big companies, fuck these banks. And I was angry and I was full, but not angry in the sense that people say angry guy. Very different than that, actually. An angry guy is some kind of, we're talking basically caricatures here, but in the sense of somebody who's kind of a loser and blaming things on others, right? Angry. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the healthy. Why the fuck is the world like this? Why am I young and I can't do what I want? Why is my parent lying to me? And I know it. And I can't do shit about it. And I don't respect them anymore. And it pisses me off that my teacher, my priest, my minister, my parent, somebody I respected, pisses me off they have these weaknesses and that they were not what I thought. It sucks that we die. It sucks that we all die. Everybody is going to live and they're going to die alone usually. And all won't mean anything. It's going to disappear. And fuck this world. Fuck this It sucks. And actually, that's a very logical, rational, speaking of logic, it's a very natural, I should say, emotion, because things do suck. Why can't we fly? Why do we have to die? Why do people that respect us have to die? We respect have to die. Why did my grandfather have to die? That fucking sucks. What the fuck? You know what I mean? Fuck that. Or a friend. Fuck that. That's fucked. That's fucking stupid. Why did this good person have to fucking die? That fucking sucks, right? So the realization of the world that we're in, combined with, I was just realizing things. The high testosterone made me just a rebel who was frustrated with figuring things out and frustrated with things in my life and full of emotion, right? And, looking back, very healthy young man, actually. Very natural young man I was in that state, and I was exactly where I should have been, actually. Exactly where I should have been. And so I think that a lot of guys, the reason why once they know what they want, they can't do it is because they can't face their own stupid fucking life, right? Is they're doing this to impress some fucking girl who, you could be motivated as a hardcore red pill guy, okay, who's never going to get married, to get in shape to impress women. Or even a woman who died. You knew when you were 12 and you loved it. And if she was here, she'd be so impressed, right? Your stupid emotions and desires and fears, those are the things you need to ride. You need to ride those bitches if you want to be exceptional. Because otherwise, you're just going to be an average guy in the gym. I'm not happy with that. I saw, who is it? Tom Brady. Everybody said, he's got some health company. And then I saw a picture of him on the beach. I'm in much better shape than Tom Brady. Okay, there's no doubt about it. And I'm older. I'm not saying I'm better than him. Tom Brady's awesome. He's probably the GOAT in a way, as far as his ability to attract talent and manage talent and be a winner is amazing. I love the guy. I liked him when he was at the Patriots. I like him when he's at Tampa Bay. But that being said, he's in shitty shape. I don't accept what he is in shape. I would never accept myself being in that shitty of shape. To me, I don't accept that. Now, he doesn't accept other things. And he kicks my ass in almost every other way, right? You know what I mean? So I'm not saying any of that. But it doesn't matter. Because I care about what I care about, right? And I would never want to be that fucking dumpy. Fuck that. Unless I'm paralyzed. And even then, I'm going to be swimming with my upper body. Guaranteed. I'll have a float and I'll be swimming, getting in shape. Just because, fuck that. That's not my personal, what I consider, that's not acceptable. So the way that you motivate yourself is by accepting you have the tools, okay? You don't get the motivation from me or from a blog post, right? The motivation comes from your daily frustration and anger and loves and fear and desires. So you could be in the gym working your ass off to prove to the world something when actually the world is never going to notice. But it doesn't matter because you want to prove to the fucking world that you're not this guy and fuck the world. And see, what I'm saying is now all of a sudden your motivation is high and you're out there doing it, right? So you have to find those demons and ride those fucking demons in the gym, right? So what I do is, one, I'm able to ride those different demons, whether it's about sex or working out or discipline or whatever the fuck it is. I'm looking for those real natural emotions that are in me that have the power to move that diesel 18-wheeler. I need the power to move the 18-wheeler. That comes from inside me. So my own makeup. I want to impress somebody. I want to crush somebody. I want to never be like that. I don't want to be like my this. I don't want to, I hate this. I want this. I want this girl to feel that. I want those guys to never forget. Whatever it is, those stupid fucking things that you think are embarrassing and you're covering up, those are the things. You're reaching in that dirty pool of emotion to get those things in order that you can rip those muscles every fucking time you go to the gym. You don't go to the gym like I'm sore today. If you are not sore for many days after the gym, you did not work out. Fuck you. That's not a workout. Give it up. Just do something else. You're not working out. Fuck that. And this is my opinion. You should be fucking sore. It's painful to get out of bed, and I'll be more sore tomorrow. Getting out of bed is going to suck tomorrow. When I take a piss at night, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go, oh, my legs, oh, fuck. If I walk, I'm going to be like, oh, why am I still doing this at 56? What the fuck? And then I'll take a little step up that little stair to go in the shower. I'll be like, oh, my God, And because I'm going to be sore. Because a workout, okay, you have muscles. You need to tear them. You need to rip them. You need to damage them muscles in order to gain strength and, your tendons and everything. In order to do what you need a workout is, right? If you just do what you can do, that's not a workout. And I mean until I'm 90 years old. You need to rip the muscles. This is like, otherwise your body cannot change. Okay? Your body cannot put on muscle if you do not rip the old muscles. The reason is because the message, your body is absolutely the most efficient Tesla ever made. It's the most efficient machine known to man, the human body. So the human body is saying, I don't want to put on muscle because there might be a famine and those muscles require a lot of extra energy. And if there's a famine, my number one thing is survival and reproduction. So I need to reproduce and I need to survive. That's what my body's telling me. So how do you survive? Who survived in World War II? Those guys, you see them coming out of the camps, skinny as fuck, right? The body uses energy in the most efficient way it possibly can. Those guys didn't come out buff, right? But they lived. But a lot of buff guys died. It's just like an eight-cylinder car. If you have limited gas, you're going to break down on the side of the road if there's not enough gas in the world, right? So your body thinks efficiency is the only thing. I need to be able to survive a famine, which will happen in your mind, your body. You've gone through a lot of famines. Evolutionary is famines all the time, And so your body's like, oh, I got to be able to survive a famine. So when you try to put on muscle, what you're saying to your body is, fuck evolution. Fuck all of your things. You're telling your body something very radical. You're saying to your body is this. The message you need to give to your brain is one very simple message. And that message is, if I cannot perform this task, I might die. And that's more important than a possible famine at some time in the future. Because I need to lift this tree that's on top of me off of myself, or I'm going to starve to death here. I need to move this rock. I need to survive in these battles. Otherwise, I won't live long enough to die of starvation in a famine. That's when your body makes a change, because your body's like, your brain is very, very efficient again. But the brain is all about survival. So the brain is this. The brain says, okay, I want this guy to survive. So even though he's working out, I'm not going to put on muscle because that's going to require a lot of fuel that he might not have. So this is why nobody's in shape, is they don't understand this. Once you understand this, when you're ready to get in shape, you're going to get in shape, because this is absolutely fundamental to how I stay in shape. This is my thinking. I understood this years ago. You need to give this very extreme message to your body, is that if I don't do this, if I'm not able to do this, lift this log, lift this tree off of me, I will die short term. So it doesn't matter long term. Okay. So that only comes from insane fear. That's why you have to go to the max on a set. That's what max is. Max is not some idiot in the gym's like, that's my max. No, max is where you collapse. Max is where you can't do anymore, no matter how motivated you are. You've gone to the max. Okay, and you need to learn this as a skill. Okay, so I'll give you an example. I used to go to this gym in Nakano in Japan, and there was this idiot there who could never get in shape, but he was, in decent shape. In other words, he's not in shape. Again, Tom Brady. To me, fuck him, right? And I was doing squats. I was doing heavy squats. And so I don't know why he was, I know why. He was actually spotting me. And I don't like spotters. I never use spotters. But for some reason, he was spotting me that day. And so I did it, as I always do it, to max. So I took this weight. I went down for the last time. I came up like, ugh! And he goes, one more. Now, because he doesn't know me, and he couldn't imagine, and of course I couldn't talk because I'm doing this heavy lift, and I didn't know who he was. I thought everybody's like me. They go to max. And then, so when he said one more, I knew I couldn't do one more. I knew it was I needed help. So I thought, I assumed he was going to help me, and that I was going to do my best. He was going to help me, and then that was going to somehow, what that does is that allows you to go a little past your max, a little bit past your max, right? I don't consider it valuable. I know my max. I go to max. Fuck everybody. I don't need any spotters. I don't need any help. I know myself. I get to max. That's it. I'm done with that. Move to the next thing. That's why I can work out fast, right? Because I go to max, right? So he didn't understand me. I didn't understand him. So I did one more. Well, I went down, and he started talking to somebody and looking the other way. Now, I went down, and I thought, okay, I got to do it. And I started coming up, and I couldn't even get halfway up. And what happened was the weights, because I was doing a lot of weight. I was probably squatting. At the time, I was probably over 400 pounds, right? So I was already way down, and I'm like probably 32 at the time. And the weights suddenly shifted to one side, to my right. And when they did that, they pushed the sleeve off, and the weights just started dropping. The plates started dropping off the side. Now, it was a rubber floor, thick. It was a heavy weightlifting gym, like a Gold's Gym type place. So you didn't really hear them that much, because it's like this really thick, solid rubber gym floor on concrete, first floor. So he was looking away. So he didn't see the first plate start sliding off. So once they started sliding off, this has never happened to me before. So I literally didn't know what to do. So all I did was I just held onto the bar. That's all I said is, I don't know what to do, because this could break my back. This could kill me. So I held on, and so what happened was, the weights slid off one side, and then they just shifted to the other side. What happened was I held onto the bar, and it was so much weight, and I held it so long that I didn't let the weights go down fast. So they flung me. So I held on the bar, and what it did, we had a high ceiling. It's like this room here. Yeah, it was probably 11 feet ceiling. It threw me into the air, and I went through the ceiling, and the bar broke all the lights off the ceiling and went through the ceiling. It went like 2 feet through the ceiling, and then I came down and tore the whole ceiling off the gym. And I came down and I landed on my back with the bar hitting me in the face or the neck, and tore the roof off the fucking gym. and weights went everywhere, and it was a total mess. And the owner, Konuma-san, he was the Japanese Mr. Japan many times. He was a really cool guy. He came over and he said, he watched the whole thing. He was I remember I spotted him because I trusted him. So I looked over at him and I'm like, as the weights were sliding off, it was too late. Of course, he can't help me, but he looked at me and he's like, I thought he was going to give me a hard time, but he said to the guy, he's like, what the fuck? He's like, basically in Japanese, like, you could have killed this guy, man, and then I left. I didn't have to pay. I was like, I'm out of here. And I wasn't even injured, but it was like a miracle. It was a miracle. And I think if I would have let go of the bar, I would have been injured more. I think it was smart to hold on. It's kind of like a motorcycle accident. When in doubt, hold on. It's just generally better to hold on tight in a motorcycle accident, because you can use the motorcycle. Like say you're running into a wall or a truck or something. You can use it as the motorcycle crushes into the thing. That will take some of the impact, right? So that helps. So I always found it's usually better to hold on. So I held on to the bar. So anyway, what I'm saying is that you have to, I'm not fucking around here. Like I'm saying max. Okay. So if you're going to go to max, then you have to know the lessons I'm telling you. Nobody's going to understand you around you. And they probably will never understand why you stay in shape and they don't. Right? They won't understand it. It's because you're getting this very fundamental principle of understanding, one, your own body, two, your dark, stupid, meaningless motivations, right? Emotions, right? That you're riding and using temporarily to get this thing done, right? And also, I'll just end on two last points that are important for motivation and discipline. Two other things. Petty. Don't be afraid of your pettiness. So once in a while, this isn't common for me, but once in a while, I'll be in the gym and I'll want to impress people. It's very rare for me, but once in a while, I'll notice a bunch of people are looking at me and I'll think, I got to do two more. And that gives me, sometimes you're at your max, but then all of a sudden you get this surge of energy, this surge of motivation that puts you into a new max, right? You are going to max, but all of a sudden, I think it's a release of chemicals. I think it's actually from your brain. So anyway, don't be afraid of your petty, not just your strong emotions, but your petty emotions. Is like you want to look good. One of the big reasons why people don't get in shape is because they don't want to look at themselves in the mirror because they think that's vain. Okay, you're out of your fucking mind. If you're going to ignore your petty emotions in your motivations, you're leaving all the good tools to accomplish your goal on the floor. And you're trying to invent them logically. No, pick up those dirty tools. Pick up your pettiness. Pick up your stupidity, your anger, your people-pleasing, and use that for another set. But you're doing it. You're like, that girl's looking at me. You're like, I'm going to do two more. Fuck it. And so that's important. So know that you have your dark emotions, your strong emotions. You have your embarrassing. You have your illogical, like trying to impress somebody who's dead, right? Or the whole world, which they're not watching you, right? Or you have your petty emotions of people pleasing. Or everybody's going to have a different basket of these, okay? So ride your basket, okay? And then the next thing I would say, the last piece of the puzzle is logistics, okay? So logistics, okay? So I got to bring it back to girls just because this came to my mind. But if you're out, okay, like you want to do, and again, I'm not saying, I know a lot of guys don't want women. Anyway, just use the example for what it is, okay? You're out and you want to, or you're not out, some other guy is out in some other country, and he's out there in the UK and it's a night out. He's going to go drinking with his buddies and he wants to fucking bone a chick tonight, okay? So he goes out. Now, he lives with his family. And his family won't let him take any girls back. And his friend is driving, so he doesn't have a car. And he doesn't have enough money to pay for a hotel. He goes out. Now, why is he not going to be motivated? Is because he knows that the logistics are not there to get laid tonight. His only option is to fuck her in the toilet. But that's not easy. I've done that before, but that is not easy. That's very difficult. To get like a girl that I would be attracted to. It's like a kind of a sweet college girl who's never done anything like this. In one fucking night, to take her in the toilet like some fucking slut, right? That's very difficult. Because I'm not going to take a drunk girl inside. I don't fuck drunk girls. I'm going to fuck a totally sober girl. And I'm going to seduce her, right? So I don't go for that. I don't like that. That's one thing I hate about the pickup artists. They go out to bars because they take advantage of that. I hate that. I've said it before. My girls were sober and I was sober. So to get a sober girl who is my type, some girl I could lick her pussy, right? A girl you can lick her pussy is not a girl who's got fucked by every guy in the neighborhood, right? Because she's not full of diseases, right? You know, she's clean, right? That's the girl I want. So given my standards, right, I want that, right? And now my options are few. So now I know all I have is the bathroom, or behind a garbage can out back or something. Very difficult to do that. Or I could go to her house, but basically I have limited logistics now. Okay. So what's going to happen is when I'm in that moment, I'm not going to be motivated because I know I don't. It's kind of like shopping for a car you can't afford. Shopping for houses you can't afford. How motivated are you going to be when you know you can't pay in the end? Right. You know, the guy's like, this thing, there's like 3 offers in this house. You know, put your offer in by tonight or by Friday, or you're going to lose this house. What are you going to do? You just slunk your shoulders and walk away because now it's action time, right? And you don't have the action because you don't have the money. So you need motivation and discipline is not all about emotion. This is the non-emotional part. If you have not thought out a logical, planned out way to do it, you will not be able to ride those emotions. Because your brain is not stupid. Your brain's like, why am I doing this? Just like the gay guy, right? Why is he doing this? And like for me, I'm out. I know I don't have any good logistics. So I know that sometimes you can overcome logistics once in a while. You can overcome every fucking thing and succeed in some wild way. But generally, it's not going to happen. So my brain's like, we're down to a very low percentage. I'm not motivated. And then I go do it anyway and I beat myself up, right? So understand that if your logistics are not good, okay, that's a key part of the puzzle. So in other words, so let's use food for an example. We're going to do a food video later. So you look in your kitchen. You have Oreos, Coca-Cola, garbage in your kitchen. Now, this is stupid. Okay, this is like living in a house full of poisonous snakes. Okay, you have a house full of poisonous snakes. One mistake when you're dreaming or sleeping could kill you. Why would you have those poisonous snakes in your house? Why? Doesn't make any sense. Why would you have things that require a lot of care, discipline, and extra energy? So you need good logistics. So one of the ways that I eat good food is that I never allow shitty food to be in my house because I know that I only have limited discipline. So the logistics are good. So when I use my discipline, I can use my discipline at different times. This is a part of logistics. I can be disciplined in my house. So I could buy a bunch of ice cream. I could buy a bunch of Oreos. I could have potato chips everywhere. I could go to McDonald's and get some apple pies. I could have, some shitty like pastries around. I could have some oily fucking this all around my house. And I could waste my valuable discipline turning those things down every day smelling that good smell and not eating it. Incredibly difficult and stupid, because my motivation, my discipline is limited. I don't have unlimited discipline. So the way you are steal discipline is by understanding your own weakness. You can't fight all day. You're training, right? To be a good fighter, right? What happens if you fight like 15 guys in a row? You're going to start losing, right, no matter how good you are and how bad they are. Because you're going to be so tired you can't even can't even hold your arms up anymore. And you're just like, boom, glass jaw, right? So you need to understand your own weaknesses, and you need to set the logistics up. So I use my discipline when I'm shopping instead of in my house. So I go when I'm full, I go shopping. I buy only good stuff. I take it to my house. I wake up in the morning and I think, I would like something shitty. I might think that, right? And not shitty like compared to most people, but for me, comparatively. Right? For me, a piece of bread is shitty. I think I want a piece of bread. And then I look and there's no bread. But I do have nuts. Now, nuts and bread are kind of, I can eat nuts when I want bread. It's like works for me, right? So I know myself. So I'm like, if there's like raw cashews, that totally satisfies me. And I don't want bread anymore, right? Yeah. So I'll have some raw cashews. So I wake up, avocado, raw cashews, some shit. All of a sudden, I don't need my bread. Didn't need the discipline because it's fucking not here, right? And to get bread, I need to put on my jacket, put on my shoes, lock the door, lock the next door, lock the next door, walk down to the store. Everybody's got COVID. You know what I mean? Walk in the store, look for bread, go to the front, wait in line, pay for the bread, come back to the house, open the door, open the door, open the door, take off my shoes, come open up the bread and eat the bread. See, so my logistics, I could do that, but I know myself. I'm probably not going to do that. So you're using your discipline and human nature in a smart way logistically so that you don't need to waste your gold. That's pretty much all I have to say.
So a couple touch-up points then. That part of the discipline to not get the bread is the inverse of the discipline that you need to go to the gym, right? Where, let's say you come home from school or from work, and logically I know I want to go to the gym, but I'm warm inside, it's cold outside, I'm comfortable inside, I have to...
Okay, let me get that one. Okay, so part of the reason why guys are not motivated is, one, they're doing a bad workout. And the workout requires them to go 5 days a week. So I realized when I was in my 30s that I was going to be a busy guy. I was going to be successful. I'm not going to have time to go to the gym anymore like I used to, right? So I said, I need a new workout that's better. I wanted a better workout, but I wanted a workout that takes less time. So that's when I discovered my once a week, full body, Mike Metzger, what was the name of that? Heavy Duty was the book. Mike Metzger, his book. And I've improved it. And so basically I did his HIIT training. Now I've done it for 30 years, so I've improved it. I've brought it to, no, not quite 30. Maybe 26, 27. And it's been the best workout for me. So again, it's kind of like logistics. Like when I was in my 20s, I had a lot of free time. I could fuck girls all day. I didn't have a job. I was a freelance. I had a lot of money because I made really good money. And I lied to girls, and I could go to the gym as much as I wanted. So I could go to the gym for 3 hours a day. It didn't matter. But once I got to a new stage, I said, okay, wait a second, maybe this is not the best way. So you might find yourself having to reevaluate the logistics of how you do things. So I found a better workout. So now I have my once a week workout. So it's much easier to be motivated to go to the gym once a week than it is 5, 6, 7 times a week. It's much easier. Okay. So that's one thing. So logistically, I made it easy on myself to be motivated because I do like being in shape. I do like, I do like looking good. I do like being strong. I do like being healthy. A lot of me wants that. And to be motivated enough to go to the gym once a week is actually pretty easy for me. But if that's not enough, then I would say, like right now, I just generally have been going every Thursday. So yesterday was Thursday, right? So you called me up. You said you're coming over. And I knew it takes you, like an hour and a half to get here. So the gym is right near here. So I knew that I could go to the gym. I could get my workout in. It's like a scavenger or a sniper. It was Thursday. I knew you were going to stay here all day and I wasn't going to be motivated today. So if I didn't do it on Thursday and then Friday, I spent the day walking around, working on things, I knew that you start to get down on yourself, right? Because now, it's already Saturday now. Now, Saturday, I don't generally go to the gym. And Saturday, there's a lot of people in the gym. You have to make an appointment because of COVID. And it's like a big deal. So I was like, I know I don't generally go on Saturdays. So I probably wouldn't go on Saturday or Sunday. So then I would probably go on Monday, right? So instead of Thursday, I'm going to go Monday. So I said, okay, sniper. I saw opportunity. You're coming. That I allowed you driving here. And my anticipation or fear that you were going to be here and I wasn't going to be done, right? I allowed that to motivate me. I said, don't have much time. Threw my shoes on, fucking went down to the gym. And I worked out fast because I said, Gabe's coming. I got to get done. I don't want Gabe. I could imagine you sitting in your car outside. And I'm like, I don't want him sitting in his car waiting for me. He drove all the way here. He had to pay the toll roads. That sucks, making him wait. Fuck that. I'm going to get my workout done fast this week, right? And so that was what allowed me to get that done yesterday. So it's a combination of sniper shot, only once a week, allowing you coming to kind of motivate me, like you're on your way. I better go now. And not kidding myself that, I'll go tomorrow. Right. Today I knew we weren't going to go. I knew I wasn't going to do yoga today. I knew, like last week we went to Williamsburg, had a great day, but we didn't get any. We walked probably 25 miles, so we got plenty of exercise, but not the heavy weights. Right? So I need both, right? I need walking, fresh air, I need yoga, and I need heavy weights. And then I'm in great shape. And I fucking basically don't have any health problems, right? And I don't know if I ever will, right? So that is the way I motivated myself. So you have to reevaluate the logistics, the way you're doing it. You have to look at your lifestyle. You have to be honest. You have to ride those bitches. And, eventually you will find that if you want this, okay, this will be enough. If the guy, back to the gay guy, if the guy is secretly gay, all that stuff's not going to be enough. He's not going to want to go pick up women, right? You're not going to get in shape because you don't really want it, right? So it depends. It depends. All this shit needs to be lined up. And it actually has to be something that you're honest enough about and you know that you want it. And believe me, as a healthy guy, you got plenty of shit like this. So you're going to be fucking fine.
Now, just one last thing, because it was something that you had mentioned. You said keep motive secret like Samson and his hair. So I don't know if...
okay. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so I was talking about the petty stuff. So when you're in the gym, you don't have to... This is your internal journey, okay? You are not going to tell anybody. You're not going to tell your best friend. You're not going to tell girls. This is an internal motivation. Now, you can share it in comments if there's something that you realize and you want to share it, right? That's totally fine because sometimes that can really help you to find new things. It can help other people. But generally, most people are not honest. So you don't have to tell anybody why you're able to outperform other people. Like why you're able to do it. Just telling people kind of ruins it. In other words, the girl doesn't want to know your doubts and fears. Right? Let's say you gave her a great fuck and it was amazing. And it was just like you were grooving. She doesn't want to know how you did it. So if she's coming over and you're getting all fired up before she comes, she'll be like, whoa, you're fired up today. And she's very happy. She doesn't want to hear a lecture about how you got fired up. Right? It is not part of it. This is your internal thing. And then you're riding that bitch. So keep it secret. Like Samson. Once he told everybody, it all kind of fell apart. And music's coming on, and we got to fucking go walking. Thanks, guys. And thank you.
Thanks, guys. Catch you around.